Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. This video is going to be a little bit more serious on a serious note, just so you guys know. Before I really get started, so I don't make the introduction so long, I have already filmed this video. I had it filming on my phone because I thought my camera had broke. Fortunately, it didn't. It just mischarged its battery somehow. So I just wanted you guys to know that this is the second time. So if I seem a little bit irritated, it's because I just did almost an hour's worth of a video and deleted it all. So sorry about that. And second thing, I have 5 medications here. So before we get started on the medications, because I know that's the reason why you guys are here, because many of you guys do ask me about my medications, what I was on, how they work for me, the symptoms, sorry I messed with the light, etc. Some of you are asking because you really want to know, educate yourself on the medications because you might go on it yourself. Others are just wondering because they want to see whether or not I have schizophrenia. But I do, guys. The way I act is the way I act, and we'll talk about that in a separate video. I'm doing this fast because I don't know how well the battery will last because I didn't charge it for very long. I do have five medications here. All come from the same psychiatrist. Before I get started, let me introduce you a little bit about my story so you guys understand. I am schizophrenic borderline personality disorder. However, I am not stamped diagnosed with it yet, meaning I haven't been there long enough for them to say, okay, this is for sure what you have. We'll put in a stamp on it so you can put it on your records. I don't know. But now you can get like emotional support or social security, etc. So I am not on disability yet because I have to be fully diagnosed. I have been to a psychologist back in 2009. He diagnosed me with paranoid schizophrenia. I was on antipsychotics before then for depressive suicidal thoughts, and that led to me going to a psychologist because I told them that a lot of times when I become suicidal, it's because of the voices I hear and they're telling me to do it. So you guys know about that. If it's a little bit dark, I am sorry. What is going on with this light? Anyway, back in 2016, because I had to stop seeing him because it just became too much for my parents to pay for. Now that I'm an adult, I couldn't pay for a psychiatrist or psychologist because it just became too expensive even for me, who wasn't working, and my husband was working very cheap jobs. I went to a psychiatrist back in 2016, at the beginning of 2016, I want to say, because I don't remember going to her in 2016. I felt like it was before that, but all the Bibles say 2016. She wasn't a good psychiatrist. One, I say this because she only spent 5 to 10 minutes of her time with me. Psychiatrists are supposed to, kind of like psychologists, supposed to sit with you, talk to you about your episodes, about your life, how you go through them, so they can diagnose you, so they can eventually give you the right medication for you. She gave me medication right off the bat, and within 5 to 10 minutes of talking to me. She never spent any more time with me than that. She never paid attention to me when I was there. She was always typing on her computer. Reasons? I don't know. So I just felt like she was a really bad psychiatrist. She would send me to a therapist who would then talk to me about my problems. The therapist who actually talked to me about my problems, which I only really stayed to with once, which I think I talked about in my doctor's video, trying to rearrange myself. She said I could have borderline personality disorder because I originally thought I was bipolar schizophrenic or schizoaffective. But she said it might not be that. It might be schizophrenia with borderline personality disorder, or schizoaffective, or borderline with schizophrenic episodes. They gave me a whole list of things. They said it could be any of them, but since I was only seeing them very few in between, they can't diagnose me fully because I wasn't giving them enough information. I stopped seeing both of them for their own reasons. It's in my doctor experience video if you want to know more. If you have any questions, ask me if I don't point that out in those videos. I don't remember the videos very well. My memory is just terrible. So let's talk about these medications. One of them, since I already did this video, I will be talking about what they are, what they're used for. Since I know what they are and what they're used for, I don't even have to look at my camera anymore. My laptop anymore. Oxcarbazepine or Trileptal. I'll be putting the name right here. Sorry. This is an epilepsy medication. I did have a possible seizure back in 2009, which led me to see a neurologist and a psychologist. I was not diagnosed with seizures, but I did have 2 students there that were taking personal classes in ambulance training and everything like that to recognize these type of things, and they told me that it was definitely a seizure. I was shaking violently, and was not here, and was not aware afterwards, and all these things that come with seizures other than vomiting or foaming of the mouth. But I was getting close to that point, they said. I don't know, I'm not one of those people. But I was not taken to a hospital and having an MRI fast enough to see if there was any brain changes or anything like that during the aftermath of that. They did that 2 weeks afterwards when everything was cleared up. So she gave me medications for epilepsy, and I just now learned about it. Every single medication here she told me was for schizophrenia or bipolar or borderline. That's what she told me. So she gave me something that was not that, and I had no idea about it. I thought I was taking everything that I have here was either atypical or a antipsychotic version of medication for schizophrenia. So just learning that this is not a medication for schizophrenia or bipolar and for epilepsy, which I was never diagnosed with, which I didn't have a seizure before or after that, by the way. All these are generic versions of the real medications because it's a little bit cheaper. At the time, I couldn't afford real deal stuff. Abilify. This is an antipsychotic for schizophrenics, bipolar, and I think irritability, something. Some of these are also for people who have autism or has had some episodes or some kind of reactions or something like that to autism. But this was for schizophrenia and bipolar. These are all to help fix the chemicals in your brain naturally, like the neurotransmitters or transmitters, something like that, to help regulate everything. It's supposed to keep you awake, supposed to keep you active. The reason why I stopped these, by the way, just disclaimer so you guys know, wasn't because they didn't work. I didn't get to take them for a full-on 2 to 3 months, which is usually the time it takes for a lot of these medications to kick in and start working because they're rearranging things for you. I had to stop taking them because they all started making me knock out right away, which is an easy side effect for these things. They're rearranging things in your brain. You're going to get tired occasionally. That's what they did to me, but I was driving Zach to work, which was 40 minutes back and forth 3 times a day. I always brought him lunches because he would always forget to make them. He just didn't want to, and he preferred me at his lunchtime because he can keep an eye on me with my medications and with my episodes. He just wanted to make sure nothing got worse or anything, which is understandable. He's a good husband for doing that. So I would stay at his job after lunch for the rest of the time. But these would literally knock me out, and I couldn't have that while driving 40 minutes a day on the road back and forth many times. So it just became a problem. So I had to stop these because I kept telling her, can you please give me something that will keep me awake, because I can't be driving my truck to his job every day and potentially put someone in danger. So I had to stop them, and every time she would give me a new one, she said it would work, which we'll get to the last one specifically. So this is Abilify. I've heard tons of things about Abilify. This is actually Abilify. This is not the generic version. Quetiapine fumarate, and this is the generic Seroquel. This is also it's also an antipsychotic. I think it's an atypical antipsychotic. I'm not 100% sure, and I do not know what that means, so sorry about that. Seroquel was actually doing pretty well for me. It made me a little bit less tired than the other medications, but again, I just couldn't risk it because it could cause issues for people. I think the reason I was actually bumped up, so don't have now, a second medication of Seroquel that was bumped up a little bit, and I don't know where I guess I threw it away thinking I only needed one bottle to prove that I took it, but I was bumped up because it was working, but it wasn't working fully. I was still seeing and hearing things quite often, but it was like on a lesser level. So I think she bumped me up, but that made the sleeping worse because it was still working and working even stronger. I stopped taking this, and I don't really have anything else to say. It's another popular one. This one's also for schizophrenia. Basically, these are all similar except for the epilepsy ones. Just ignore that one. Risperidone. Generic for Risperidone. So Risperidone is the generic version of Risperidone. Either way, this is also I think this one's definitely a atypical antipsychotic. Again, I don't know what that means. It has for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and I think the irritability, and I think there's also for Tourette's. So I'm not looking it up now. I just keep looking at the screen because I think it's up. But this one actually is about Geodon, which will be next. She only gave me 0.5 milligrams. So Seroquel I had 100 and up, but this one I only had 0.5 mil. Maybe it's because it's stronger. I don't know. I don't know how medications work. I don't do the prescription stuff. I study viruses and paleontology. Now lastly, this was the one that I actually, whenever someone asks me what I took, I always say this one before anything else, because half the time I don't remember them and I don't really go into my box to see. My cabinet to see. But this one's because it's the one I remember the most because it actually brought me some trauma. Geodon. This is Risperidone, the generic version of Geodon, and I was taking 40 milligrams. I'm supposed to take it twice daily. I have beef with this. This is an antipsychotic. It is for schizophrenia, and it is actually making a breakthrough for schizophrenia. I've heard. I'm not sure. I just heard. The reason why I stopped taking this is when, unlike the other ones, just made me really tired. Well, I felt like I had to go to sleep. This one would knock me out, meaning during the middle of the day, I'll be out cold somewhere. And I mean out cold somewhere. So after I would drop Zach off and I would come for his lunchtime and I would stay there and study, I would take my laptop with me and I would work on my class or I was editing my videos, I fell asleep in the subway. And I don't do that. I don't fall asleep like that. I have to actually lay down, get comfortable, have a fan on, and actually sit there for an hour before sometimes I can knock out. Because it just takes that to get me to sleep. Well, everyone else can like knock out to TV and stuff like I can't do that. I have to have the TV off. I have to have all the lights off, or it's just I can't fall asleep. That's why I make the perfect driver. No matter how tired I am, usually I can't knock out, but this knocked me out, and I fell asleep at Subway. And the next day, it didn't start kicking in until later in the day when he was getting off of work. It was an hour before his work, and all of a sudden I noticed I was knocking out. I was like, oh shit, I have to get somewhere comfortable because I was like walking around the store. I got into my car, and back then I had a whole bunch of stuff in my car because I'll be honest with you, I had bed bugs at that situation at that time because he got it from his parents and then brought it to our house. We got rid of the whole situation quick too. We did that shit quickly. Anyway, we had all of our stuff in the car because with 98-degree weather upping when the windows are closed and everything, and we bombed all of our stuff in the car so it's sealed shut and everything. So that's how we got rid of our bed bug situation. If you want a story time about that, go ahead. I'll do it, no problem, just ask me for it. But I did have a bed situation. I can tell you how I got rid of it and everything. We had everything in our car. We had it for like months to make sure the heat killed off anything, keep it away from the rest of the room. It was mostly books and everything, but it was all over the car. So I used to sleep in my car. I used to sleep in the back seat whenever I had issues, which happened often because I'm not right in the head, and my husband has to keep an eye on me occasionally. So I would go to work with him so he could keep an eye on me, even if he had to walk out to the car to check up on me. I had nowhere to sleep, so I was knocking out on top of books. I was having issues. Oh man, and I was having panic attacks, so I was just falling asleep. My friend, my ex-girlfriend, would let me sleep in the back of her car where she was reading books, and she had air, which made me feel even worse, and I was having more panic attacks. And I was taking energy drinks to help combat that all of a sudden. I have a heart problem, so energy drinks are not that great for me. I have a heart murmur, and it was making my heart freak out. It was making me having another panic attack. It was just the worst experience of my life when it came to medications. I never had such a bad symptoms to anything like that ever in my lifetime. And it was scary because although I'm pretty sure this would have worked in the end game, I couldn't wait long enough to the end game for it to get better because I had to drive a lot. Like, I can't risk other people on the roads because I'm falling asleep because of my medication. I can't do that. I just can't. Anyhow, no one else could drive him because my parents were always up here in Georgia because they were going back and forth trying to start up a business here. So it was just really me driving him back and forth, which is fine. I'm his wife. So anyway, I stopped this after like 2 or 3 days because every time I started knocking out, I started to have panic attacks because I knew I wasn't controlling the knockout. But it is also for schizophrenics, bipolar. I think it was just for schizophrenia and bipolar for it's right here. What am I looking at? Schizophrenia and bipolar. And the medication decrease hallucinations, help you think more clearly and positive about yourself, feel less agitated, and take more active parts in your everyday life, which it didn't. It is an atypical antipsychotic story. I'm talking really fast. When I'm nervous, I talk really fast. Yes, this one, it's still filled, and it's probably not even good for me anymore. There you go. Why I kept this one filled, I have no idea. My husband kept telling me, just throw them in the trash. I don't know why I kept it filled. Anyhow, none of these are. I think I threw all the. I think actually my psychiatrist made me throw them away. She's like, give me that bottle. Throws away. Here's the bottle back. Anyhow, now that I live closer to Zach's work, it may be easier for me to do these. I'm not bashing these. I'm not saying they don't work. They may have worked for me in the end game, like after about 2 or 3 months, because you need to let medications, you have to let them work for about 2 to 3 months. Because when it comes to your brain, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of chemicals, there's a lot of transmitters, neurotransmitters, there's a lot of things going on. So you need to keep up with your medication for at least 2 to 3, mostly 3 months. Because what they're doing is rearranging some things. So you may even see more hallucinations. You may be really tired. Have someone keep an eye on you when you're on your medications until that 3rd month. If it's still happening by the 3rd month, then go back and say, hey, this isn't working for me. Because by then the chemicals have been, they should be about that situated. So then you should do it. When it comes to things like antibiotics, that's different. They work differently. They're working with different parts of you differently. So that's different. But antipsychotics you do, antidepressants you do have to kind of give them some time. They're working on things that are a little bit hard to do. But for example, who knew schizophrenia and stuff like that existed until a couple hundred years ago? I wanted to do this video to educate people on medications that I took, my experiences with them, etc. I know, another reason why I did this video, I know a lot of people, not a lot, I wouldn't say. I want to make a disclaimer now. I am a schizophrenic with possible borderline because that is what my psychiatrist, psychologists have told me. Until they say otherwise, that is what I'm going to believe. I never self-diagnosed myself. Why I act the way I do separate to other schizophrenics will be discussed in the next video I'm making, whether it be before this one or not, depends on the scenario of my editing. Those who don't believe me, I'm sorry. I'm not making these videos for you to criticize. I'm not making these videos to gain attention or money. Do I put monetization on them? Yes, because it's helping me pay to go see a psychiatrist. And it's not even making me that much money right now. So that does help me with the process of getting better, whether or not you believe me or not. For those who don't believe me, it's your own opinion. So, I can't do anything about it. Do I act weird for a schizophrenic? Maybe, but not every schizophrenic is the same. They don't all act the same. I know a schizophrenic who works at Walmart right now, whose name is Andrew, and he's on medications and he's doing well. And guess what? He goes around like me saying, I'm schizophrenic. It's okay. You know, it's okay to talk to me. It's okay to do this with me. He has no problem with it. He's just like me about it. And yet, when I do it, I'm not schizophrenic. Doesn't make any sense. Does it bother me? You guys said it's a little hurtful, but you know, I'm not here for you. And I got one particular person that said, "Well, I'm not gonna be like a normal commenter who calls you beautiful and you're so brave." I'm not here for those comments. I'm here to educate you. Do I give a crap whether or not you call me beautiful or not? Thank you for calling me that, but I'm not here for that. And I hope you guys know that. Obviously, I'm not here. If I wanted you guys to call me beautiful, I'd be asking, I'm so ugly, I'm so ugly. But I'm not like that. I'm very much just educating you. For those who give me those compliments, I am so grateful for, because it means a lot to me. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to educate you. And if you have a problem with education, get the fuck out, because no one got time for that shit. Anyhow, medications. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions on my medications I was on, anything on schizophrenia, borderline, anything about my life, feel free to do it. I'm gonna do more questions and answering videos because I'm slowly running out of ideas what to do. And that's kind of sad. Like, I did the main things, like my hallucinations. I will keep you guys updated on my hallucinations and my delusions. So every time I have a new one, I'm writing them down. If I realize they're actual hallucinations or not, or if they're real. And the reason why I'm able to separate hallucinations from whether or not they're real or not is because my husband would say, it's not there, it's not there. And he's with me most of the time. So he's able to tell me, that's not real, that's not there, that's just your hallucinations. He's able to put the stamp on me, on it for me to clarify, okay, it's not there, it's not there. That's why most of the time I'm able to bring myself away from. The delusion, on the other hand, there is still a delusion that I firmly believe in. Firmly believe in. To this day, if someone told me it's not real, I have a hard time believing them. Do I call it a delusion? I think parts of me, that very big green back of my head, they're still like, is this real? No, it's real. It's fucking real. It's fucking real. I'm trying my best to pull myself out of the non-real, but who knows what is real nowadays? Are we real? Are we in a simulation right now? Either way, I don't know if I'll talk about that delusion until I'm a little bit better, because I don't need people judging me for that one. So, but I'll tell you about the most weird and more embarrassing ones. Don't worry. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. This is also a makeup channel, so there'll be a lot of makeup videos on here, and I'm thinking about making it partially a crafting channel as well, because I do have a crafting channel and I just never get to it. So maybe if I put it on here, I'll get to it more. Anyhow, hope you guys have a good day.